Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we would look at the purpose of record keeping for tax purposes. You need to be familiar with this topic, especially if you are studying for the enrolled agent exam. What is the purpose? Well, there are more than one purpose for proper record keeping, but for tax purposes, it serves three critical functions. The first function is, I would say, not obvious, but obvious. That's substantiation function. What does that mean? It means you have to show evidence of your income and of your deduction. Substantiation, because the burden of proof is on the taxpayer. That's the reason it's on the taxpayer. Without record, deductions will be disallowed. They will take it away from you. If you cannot prove it, they will take it away from you. Income may be reconstructed by the IRS, and often unfavorably. In other words, they will either add more income or what you are afraid of is taking some deductions. As a result, they would increase your tax bill and they would increase your taxes, and you might be incur penalties as well. So this is one of the three reasons. Let's go ahead and look at the other two reasons and other factors in this chapter. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, FarhatLectures.com. You are here because you are serious about mastering taxation. Whether you are taking a tax course, studying for the CPA exam, or enrolled agent, tax feels overwhelming, not because it's impossible, but because it's dense, detailed, and often taught at a pace that doesn't match the way you learn. The rules can feel disconnected, and the logic isn't always explained clearly. At Farhat Lectures, we slow it down. We explain the why behind the rules, break concept into simple steps, and rebuild your understanding from the ground up without assuming any prior knowledge. When explanation matches your learning, everything changes. The confusion fades, the rules start to connect, and tax becomes manageable. If you are ready to understand tax with clarity and confidence, start your free trial at farhatlectures.com and let's build your tax foundation together. The second reason is the measurement function. This is for you. It allows you accurate record keeping for your gross income, for your net income, for your tax liability, because you want to keep a good record, because otherwise you will have incorrect tax reporting. Well, you could have it penalize you in two different ways: either incur penalties or not taking the proper deduction that you can take. And the third, which is what you needed for the most, is audit defense. So proper record can reduce the audit risk, and if that audit occur, you could speed up the audit resolution, you can increase your credibility. And this is a good thing, because research shows that if you're audited once, you may be audited again. So if you're audited once, you could be audited again. You don't want to give them that low-hanging fruit that you are not the person of keeping good records. So those are three main reasons for keeping record for tax purposes. Now, okay, that's great. We know this. So what must be kept? So what should the record include? You should have a complete system with two layers. The first layer is what we call primary record or book of accounts. Those are organized summaries, not raw evidence, like journal entries, chronological listing of transaction, sales journal, cash receipt journal, actual ledger classified by account. Each account will have its own record: account receivable, your revenues, your expenses. The key concept here is what? The journals is what happened and when, because the journals will show you what happened and when. This is, we're talking basic accounting here when we talk about the journal. The ledger, it tells you where it belongs. So the ledger, there's a ledger for each account. There's a ledger for account receivable, record for expenses, record for revenue. The journal shows you, for example, what account was debited and what account was credited. So which account went up, which account went down. Then each of these accounts, the account that's being debited, the accounts that's being credited, will have its own ledger. Loan ledger means keeping track of it separately. For example, we have a cash ledger. It keeps track of cash increases and cash decreases. Now,
If you are rusty about your basic accounting, go to Farhat Lectures, look at my basic accounting course. It will talk about basic accounting, which would include journals and ledgers. This is the first layer. The second layer is the original source document. These provide the legal evidence of the transaction. They keep, for example, a receipt. For example, a receipt is a source document. It keeps evidence of the amount, the date, for what purpose, and who was involved. Now, to be specific, for record keeping, for example, travel, you would need receipts, date, and business purpose. For meals, receipts, who attended, very important, which is a little bit different, business and business discussion that took place. Vehicle, mileage log, dates, miles, and purpose. Equipment's invoice depreciation schedule for payroll W-2 and payroll register. Now, for meals, travel, and auto expense, those require more strict substantiation, basically heavier evidence. Now, can we have this evidence in electronic format? Yes, the IRS fully accepts digital systems, but with conditions. The first condition is integrity requirement. The record must be accurate, complete, unaltered. For example, a spreadsheet can be easily modified without audit trail. It's weaker than accounting software. For example, if you're looking at QuickBooks will have an audit trail. A more advanced ERP system will even have stricter audit trail. So if they accept it, it has to have integrity. Its accessibility requirement must be readable, provided upon IRS request. You're going to just send it to them. Storage consideration. Cloud storage is acceptable. Backup are recommended. Scanned receipts are valid if they are legible. More about electronic record. You should have your own internal control of how to collect this record. You should have access control where not everyone can, access and change the record. Backup procedures. Audit trail, who changed what. Electronic record not weaker, but must meet certain reliability standard. That's what you have to know about this. How about record retention requirement? A general three-year rule. Keep record for 3 years from the later of filing date or due date. Other dates that you need to be aware of that they're highly tested. You need to know that if you have underreporting income, more than 25% of your gross income, you have a 10-year to become back and they audit you. If you commit fraud or no return file, that's indefinite. And there's a separate session about this. The statutes of limitation, plus when can you claim for a refund. Employment taxes, 4 years. Property record until disposal, plus the statute period, which is 3 years. Property record must be kept if you have property like vehicle, bulldozers, machinery, equipment. To determine the adjusted basis, it's in your best interest to do that, to determine whether you have a gain or a loss. The depreciation schedule to determine the gain or the loss. For example, if the property is held for 10 years, keep the record 10 years plus 3 years after the sale. Depreciation record, you must track the original cost. Accumulated depreciation, method used, it's whatever, makers, IRS, that's what you could use for tax purposes. Also, proper record keeping is you have to have separation between personal and business record. Why separation matters? Because substantiation, mixed evidence are harder to prove. IRS may disallow certain deduction if they see it in your bank account. Then you're going to have harder time proving it. Reclassifying transaction, it'll be harder to reclassify. Easier for audit trail. Commingling increases audit probability, scrutiny level, because once they see you're mixing, you're commingling, it's not going to look good in an audit. Legal protection for LLC corporation. Mixing funds can pierce the corporate veil. So the best practices, keep a separate bank account, credit card, accounting record. For example, if you want to open a business bank account, you need to be incorporated, you need to have your own business in order to open a business account, but it's better to have a business account, pay this extra money, have a separate business account than your personal account. As part of record keeping, we would look at financial statement as a formal record of business transaction. They're used for tax reporting and decision making, and we're going to look at two key financial statements very briefly: income statement and the balance sheet. Income statement is basically called the profit and loss, P&L. It reports performance over a period of time, monthly, quarterly, yearly. You could prepare income statement for any period. It shows two things: revenues and expenses, and shows whether you have a net income or a net loss. Why is this important? Because if you have a net income, taxable income, you have to pay taxes. It measures your profitability. And accounts on the income statement are temporary. They are closed by the end of each period, the end of each year. Once again, if you are rusty on your financial statement, you want a basic review, go to Farhat Lectures, because this is a tax course, not a financial accounting course. We're looking at the financial statement from a record keeping perspective. The other statement is the balance sheet. The balance sheet, it shows you things as a specific point in time versus the income statement, which was for a period of time. The balance sheet would include your assets, what businesses owns, like your equipment, vehicle, bank account, account receivable, your liabilities, basically your debt, and your equity, the owner's interest. What you need to know about them is it have the accounting equation: assets equal to liabilities plus equity. Once again, for the third time, rusty about this, go to my financial accounting course. It provides a snapshot about your financial condition. Accounts on the balance sheet are permanent. The balance sheet account are real. Cash is real. Your equipments are real. Your supplies are real. Your debt is real. Those are real accounts. It means they carried forward from year to year. Important distinction, just need to know from a date perspective. Income statement show for a period of time, a flow. Balance sheet shows you your information as a point in time, like a date, December 31st. It's a snapshot. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. A taxpayer maintains all business record in scanned PDF format and discards original paper receipt. Under IRS rule, which statement is correct? Well, electronic records are not acceptable without the original document. Not necessary. The accounting records are acceptable. You don't need the original. Electronic records are acceptable. Electronic records are acceptable only if printed annually. They don't need to be printed annually. Electronic records are acceptable if accurate, complete, and accessible. Yes, this is the integrity of the of the record. Yes, I would say between A, B, and C. I'm going to keep C. Electronic records are acceptable only for large corporation. No, for all taxpayer, that's acceptable. Now, if you are using Farhat Lectures, you can ask AI to explain the topic further, explain the correct and incorrect answer, create a similar MCQ. What should you do now? Go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional multiple choice practice, exercises, resources, AI, material that will help you prepare for your certification exam. The best investment you can make is invest in yourself. God bless.